how to become the single largest accumulation of oil and gas assets by a private group of investors in the country. And that's not out of ego. I just think that's the opportunity. There's a big difference. I don't have a big ego. I just like winning. Call that what you want. I think the window's wide open for private investors. And for those contrarian millionaires, out of the 22 million millionaires in the country, probably only 500,000 belong directly in oil and gas. So my job is to introduce the industry, the education, the process, and those who want to look at it are more than welcome to talk to me. If not, there's a lot of people to invest with. But I think the opportunity is easily $10 billion that a small group like us can pick up crumbs off of very, very bountiful tables. And that's what I think we're going to do. We just closed on one in May. It was a $120 million transaction. We got it way below what the price should have been because nobody bid on it. And the guys we bought it from said, well, show us your proof of funds. I said, I don't have proof of funds. I have a bunch of really loyal partners and we'll fund it in the 45 days. I don't know, you're not a flake. I said, what deposit do you want?
Yeah.
Well, we need 10 million down deposit, non-refundable. Here you go. 45 days later, we're like, we're ready. You ready to close? We closed it. Yeah. I'm like, where do they get this money? How do they do this? My own bankers 3 years ago, you'll love this, actually thought I was running the Ponzi scheme. Because we went from 8 people and starting off with scratch. Yeah. All of a sudden, we're moving 50 million, 100 million through, in and out, giving distributions. They got me to talk to their board and they're like, well, we're real concerned. There's some hanky-panky going on.
Too much success scares bankers.
Oh yeah, so we had my security lawyers get on the phone and go like, y'all are idiots. This guy's just got he's built a great machine. Now they're like every day like, oh my God, you're our best depositor, you're our best guy.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I mean, I'd say there's been a lot of God's blessings in it. I mean, I'm a workaholic, but I've surrounded myself with really brilliant people, and that's the one lesson I learned as an entrepreneur. It was always the Troy show. I found the deals, I funded the deals, I ran the company. I finally said, I'm never going to be successful if I don't surround myself with people smarter than me, that have special skill sets that will execute. When I finally stepped back about 8 years ago and I did that, we took off like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
It was hard to let go of the reins, and now I look back and go, wow, what can we really do? That was a very big lesson for me.
That is. I had the same lesson when I was running my wealth management firm. I read a book. I'll forget the title of it now, but it basically was, systems and processes driven, not owner dependent.
Yes.
And, you don't have enterprise. I think the saying was, if the business doesn't function without you, you don't have a business, you have a job.
Correct.
And so that was the epiphany I had from reading a good book, where I said, I need to build a systems and processes. So I went from being a average wealth management firm to being the fastest growing wealth management firm in the country because I brought in a CFO and I brought in a COO and I brought in a chief investment officer. I had to delegate things that I didn't feel comfortable delegating because I thought nobody can do it as well as I can, which is the standard entrepreneurial type, right? I'm going to let them do that. I ought to do that.
It's almost the hero syndrome. I can do it all.
I was doing Excel spreadsheets to rebalance and calling in trades to Schwab, right? Well, I'm running a couple $100 million wealth management firm. And, it was just like, but it took, a shift in mindset induced by reading somebody going, hey, you idiot, what are you doing? Here's the way you got to do that. But I see that all the time. I run a middle market M&A shop now, sell side. And I run into businesses all the time that are worth 50, 75, $100 million, and they're all owner dependent. They don't have systems and processes. They don't have middle management. They have customer concentration. It's just, okay, step back, take a couple of years. If you can sell at a 5 multiple instead of a 3 multiple because you can address these things, multiply your EBITDA by another 2 or 3 turns, right?
Key man sensitivity.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was my biggest concern, is we were ever going to grow. I had to realize, what if I got run over by a bus in the parking lot? What happens to the company? How could you go talk to somebody about putting significant money in your assets that you're going to manage if they go, yeah, but that's a guy in charge and he drops dead of a heart attack or he gets hit by a bus. So I realized early on, if you're really disciplined on the vision and the plan, and then you go recruit the right people who have the skill sets that also can see the vision, buy in, what a powerhouse you have. Yeah. Now you have the Clydesdales pulling your wagon, not a couple of donkeys. And that's what I did. And I passed off the CEO to one of my team, which was my son-in-law, Matt Marchiori.
Yeah.
I surrounded myself with people in the office that are some of the smartest people I've been around in 40 years. I actually told my wife this when I turned 60. I said, she goes, well, right, are you having a tough time with your birthday? I said, no, it's not really my birthday. I don't like the number 60. You can't say 60 and not sound like you're old as a tree, right?
Yeah.
I said, so, it's tough to say the number because I don't feel that old. She goes, well, why do you look like you're melancholy? I said, I'm melancholy because I'm bored at the office. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I put all these people in place and they're doing such a great job. They're having acquisition meetings and management meetings and operating meetings. I go, and I'm not invited to meetings anymore. So I go to work, I find stuff to do, and then I leave. And she's like, what are you? I said, well, I'm just talking to partners because there's nothing for me to do. She goes, why don't you retire? I go, oh, no.
No.
We're not going to retire. We're going to look at the next Mount Everest to climb. So that's when I came up with this vision tour. And so that's what I've been implementing. And I'm having the time of my life. But, I think entrepreneurs have to truly look in the mirror and ask themselves a real question. And that is, what's the goal?
Yeah.
What's the end game? And you got to have an end game. Because one day, Mr. McCombs was my partner for about 15, 16 years. He passed away a few years ago. And I really, really respect him. I really enjoyed company with him. And just watching and observing him, he wasn't doing what he was doing to make money, as it was who he was, is what he did, right? And that's kind of how I am. I just love helping investors. I love the industry. I've waited 40 years to see the oil and gas industry this wide open with this much opportunity. It's like Easter Sunday, and everybody else set their alarm for 9 a.m. and I got there at 7 a.m. It's just the field is wide open. It's how many eggs can I put in my basket? That's how I view it. That'll change. I don't think it's going to stay with suppressed oil price. I think when President Trump finishes his term, I don't think the next president, Republican or Democrat, is going to be able to suppress oil price. And when that happens, you're going to see a pendulum swing. And whoever spends the next 3 years really, really focused on the true underlying value of the energy space is going to be a massive winner the next decade.
Yeah.
But you got to really have patient money, and you got to have people who are willing to listen. I think the phones, the internet, all the live streaming, the chaotic noise in the background for employees, for investors, for capital partners is so loud. It's like being in Vegas next to all the slot machines. You can't even hardly think. So what you got to do is you got to focus and put those mufflers on and just say, this is the right direction, and I can't hear the noise. That's kind of what I've done. I just locked myself in, and I'm going the right direction.